Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. I am Mrs. Best. We have James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel here. Welcome in, James.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We are here, you guys, to go over a new show that we'll be recapping every week, Queen's Court. Queen's Court did have a season 1 that was on Peacock. I didn't recap it. I don't really recap too many really streamed shows, but with Basketball Wives going away, Love and Hip Hop ending, Beverly Hills being in the near distance, I was like, I guess I got to fill the spot. So here we are. It's a good show, though. I do watch it, so I'm happy to be here. Happiest of Mondays as well, and congrats to those who survived. Hi, Jen. Welcome in. Let's get into it. I'm actually the selection of women for season 2 for Queen's Court I'm okay with, but then at the same time, I'm a little concerned. I felt like last season with Nivea, Evelyn, and Tamar, all 3 women were clearly single at the time. All 3 women were actively and publicly dating, so it made sense to see them try to find love. But Lisa Ray, yes, Jen, is given they need to check because K. Michelle was just on marriage boot camps last season with a whole different man, and she was trying to work it through. Delicious was just married to somebody who was part of the Central Park Five and just recently divorced. And Lisa Ray, old as hell. I'm wondering why she's here. I don't feel like she blends with the other 2 ladies at all, but okay, I just can't. Lisa Ray's dating history, for those who know, is a mess. It's a mess. It's an actual mess. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with them. But Delicious wants to be called London. I will try.
Her name is Delicious. Ma'am, that's how you made your money. This is what we know you as. And then everybody who really knows you calls you Chandra. So I'm not finna sit up here and get confused with you. Delicious is what we know you as. That is what I'm calling her. So if I say Delicious, I'm sorry. Since 2006, that is what I've known her as. And that is what we're going to do. I'm not finna change up just like Bucky. On Love and Hip Hop Miami, that is Bucky. I tried to call her Shay a few times, but it doesn't work. So Bucky is so this is Delicious, the winner of Flavor of Love. Thank you.
Right. And we know she got some issues because she was on Flavor of Love. Now, Rodney and Holly Robinson Pete are back as the hosts. They were there season 1 as well. They've been married for 29 years. Holly Robinson Pete is well known from old school nostalgic shows to writing children's books to, I believe at one point she did The Apprentice. She's done a lot. So
absolutely. One of like my favorite old school actresses, hanging with Mr. Cooper. Like, y'all, I love me some Holly Robinson Pete. I do. Sorry.
I think it's nice that they have a married couple here, but a married couple is not going to help these people find love. Let's just keep it real. But they asked the women what their motivation is for coming on this show, looking to find love. Now, Lisa says that she feels lonely because she has a grown child. I know that her daughter Kai is an adult now, has had a baby, all types of things of that nature. So her child's living her life. Lisa Ray's mother also passed away, so she's feeling lonely. And yes, for those who are like, what about her sister Debrat? Debrat's married with a newborn now, so I'm pretty sure she's pretty busy as well. But Delicious, aside from wanting to go by London, she's saying that the reason that she's here and what's motivating her is that her husband left her, but she did not want to divorce. She says she still wants to be married, and in my opinion, it didn't seem like she was over him. With K. Michelle, she says that she wants a man with a man bun and a farmer. She wants a man similar to her grandfather, who was, I guess in her words, a man's man, and she's tired of athletes and ball players. Before we get to the other parts of the show, all of their reasons for wanting a man showed me that none of them, with the exception of Lisa Ray, I'm not including her in this because her reasoning I can understand. These women need to get therapy and reality on their side because
go ahead.
Delicious, You just divorced not long ago. I can understand you wanted to date, but I just feel like she's not over the ex. She needs to work through that. K Michelle, I don't take her seriously. She goes from show to show in recent times with men. So I don't know what to believe. Lisa Ray, I hope you did grief counseling, but I can understand being alone and wanting companionship. I don't see nothing wrong with that. But K Michelle and Delicious, I'm looking at with a side eye. She better get her breath.
You know what I was gonna say about K Michelle? K Michelle, baby, you on the wrong show. You need to go to, what was that app called? Does it still exist? That one that had the jingle. You don't have to be lonely.
Oh, farmersonly.com.
Yeah, that's what K Michelle. That's what K Michelle needed. Where is that app? Does that app still exist? K Michelle, go to farmersonly.com. Since you want a man bun and you want a farmer and you want, somebody who got a herd and shit, go over to Farmers Only.
She want the type of men that don't want her. They be liking low-key women or women that ain't doing all that she doing. So I don't know what the hell
all
she
that hollering and stuff. Yeah, don't nobody. Yeah, I agree. As far as Lisa Ray McCoy, she gives me Dr. Contessa vibes. I don't know why, but if you guys do not know what I mean by Dr. Contessa vibes, go to my channel and you will go to Married to Medicine and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about Dr. Contessa. I'm just gonna say it like that. But she gives me that. I'm sorry. I feel like that's the reason why she acts out the way she did and why she went at Brat the way she did. I feel like, yeah, that's just how I see it. I'm sorry, and I can't unsee it. With Delicious, I do agree with you. I feel like she's not over that ex-husband because she never got closure. And she never got realistically the answer that I feel like she wanted of why did you leave? I feel like she needs to figure that out first before she puts herself out here again, because you could actually get a man who did the exact same a man who did the exact same thing the last man did if you're not clear and concise on why it happened. And I don't think that situation had anything to do with you personally, Delicious.
A bitch stay winning said K Michelle is setting herself up for her country album. That's why she wants the type of man and she is talking that way. I agree. She's always, even back in her R&B days, spoken in this way, but I do notice like the type of man she's interested in that she's talking about now is not the type of men that we've seen her date. I think it's smart what she's doing for the country album, but just like go somewhere else with that. Like James said, she's on the wrong show.
She ain't go to farmersonly.com. I'm telling you, she would have so much success. She would, and I just, because I can't picture K Michelle living on no farm with a man who does that for a living, herding, she in the kitchen cooking, a steak, some greens, and some cornbread. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I feel like she's biting more than she can chew, because men like that want their women to stay at home. They don't really want their women out there in the world working and stuff like that. At least not the ones I've known. And I've known a couple. I live in Arizona, y'all. They have me. So that's why I'm like, something about her wants is just weird. Maybe she will find a happy medium. I don't know, but not on this show.
Who knows? I don't see it for Delicious personally, but the men come out. There's going to be 22 men on this show. We're going to get 7 of them in this episode. And what's going to happen is the women are going to ask 2 men on a date. Each woman will ask 2 men on a date. So that is total of 6 men. And 1 man on the show is going to go home and will not be chosen. So we see everybody mingling and all of those good things. And K Michelle exposes that she got a scholarship for yodeling to Florida A&M, which was interesting. But K Michelle was speaking with this old ass dude, Bailey, right? I felt like Bailey in the beginning, like I'm just commenting on what I saw thus far in the episode. I felt like he would have been a better match for Lisa Ray. I was feeling him when he was like, he submits to God, but then he irked me when he said right after that, because submitting to God makes it easier for a woman to submit to me. I'm like, now wait a minute. Why she got
I need to see. Hold on, because I don't remember him.
Yeah, he gave cocky. I didn't care for him, and immediately when he behaved that way, I did not see it for Bailey.
Do they have a list of the men?
Huh?
I'm gonna see if I can get a list of the men with the. pictures. Because
Oh,
I don't remember what he looks like.
Oh, well, he looked like the pastor from Greenleaf with these eyebrows just sticking.
Oh, okay. I know he's like, yeah, I know he's talking about that.
My soul.
He was the one with the cape.
He irked me. I couldn't stand his eyebrows. All these pros on the show, the men so far are not a match. Yeah, they're not. They're not. It's not going to work. But we did see K. Michelle talking to the white boy who is Zach. And he gave me, what was the boy? Is it Jeremy Robinson or is that somebody else? The white boy that's with Tamar.
Yeah.
I feel like they just trying to have a token white boy now on this show. Except this
Which I don't mind. Oh, go ahead.
He was the total opposite of Jeremy to a certain extent, while also very similar. He kind of got on my nerves, but we learned that he was previously married. He adopted 2 kids from Ethiopia. He seems to have a good heart. But I was surprised that K. Michelle asked him and his purple Jordans on a date. I didn't quite understand or expect that. She also ended up asking Afam, who is 48 years old. He's a software engineer, on a date. Both men that K. Michelle chose, I did not care for. How did you feel about Zach and Afam getting the dates?
Zach was weird. So I'm just going to Jim Bunny. Zach was weird. To me, it gave like predatorial, like you had a black wife and adopted kids from Ethiopia and all that kind of. That was weird to me. It was the tone of wording he said it. It was like, I don't know about you, sir.
Well, red flags go up when people adopt kids from overseas because they can do that right here in the States. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that came out. Not, I have kids, but I adopted 2 kids from Ethiopia. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that was weird.
All right.
I don't remember the other. He was quiet. They didn't show the date with him. So I don't know. There's nothing to really unpack with him.
Afam was very, very quiet. We didn't get much from him. So we'll move on. Dr. Elom, Dr. Elom, whatever the hell, and Miss Delicious, they make a connection and she ends up asking him on a date. I was not surprised.
Oh, that was mm-hmm.
Dr. Elom, something is off with him, but
something is off. Something is off. It's called, what the fuck are you doing on this channel with these women? Oh, let me shut up. No, sorry.
I didn't understand it. But we did see Delicious also talk with Chris. He's 40 years old. His mouth was extremely wide. That's all I kept looking at. His mouth was wide as hell. It looked like
I was trying to right. I paused the TV so I could count all of his teeth.
Yeah, so I could count his teeth.
I'm pretty sure I could.
In his mouth as a shark.
I mean, you could see every single tooth in this man's mouth. I mean, you could go all the way back to the molars. I am like, what, sir? Damn. I was really trying to count them, like I couldn't, but you know.
But separate from that, he was also a red flag. He tells Delicious that he got out of a 3-year relationship that was long distance. And then he complained about how when he dates a woman and part of the reason it didn't work is because she didn't have too many friends. So that meant that she wanted to spend more time around him. I thought that was a red flag. Why are you complaining that your girl want to spend time with you?
Because, like, I feel like the 2 men, and this is my opinion, allegedly, this is not true. This is not, they have not come out and said, I feel like the 2 men were gay. I do. I noticed certain things.
I got that too.
I noticed certain things. First of all, it was Dr. Elam with this, shy, like giddy twirl that he kept doing. And then when he recited that poem or whatever the fuck that was, I noticed that the other guy was kind of smitten by it. And I was like,
we haven't gotten there yet, though.
Oh, sorry. But I'm just saying. I just felt like the 2 men she picked, and that was just me trying to prove the point. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
You could sense that even prior to the date scene, though. I think most people can. And that's why I have gone across the bottom of the channel all things we talk about are alleged, so you don't got to cover yourself. I put it on the bottom because I got tired of repeating that shit. But I agree, and I'm glad that you sensed it, picked up on what I picked up on, because Dr. Elam and they both gave weird energy. But we're going to come back to that heavily, you guys. Now we're going to get to Miss Lisa Ray and who she chose. So she was in the Booker. I actually felt like that was a decent match for her. But she did end up asking him on a date. Now, while she's trying to talk to him, another man, Norman, claims that he knows Lisa Ray, and he's hovering over her, while she's talking to Dr. Elam, whatever the hell. It turns out this man, Norman, who's hovering, used to date Lisa Ray's daughter, Kai. Strange. Now, they dated over 10 years ago, so they were both probably relatively younger, but it was just, you could sense the awkwardness between the two with the smiling. And she ends up asking him on the date because she says she wants to know, in his words, what happened between him and her daughter. If it was over 10 years ago, Lisa, and you didn't date him, your child did, and your child now has a new kid and a new man, why are you doing this? I don't get it.
I agree. I feel like that was one, okay, for TV purposes, it was iconic. That was hilarious that she did that. However, in hindsight, that is crazy. Like, if you know it, why you didn't just confront him right then and there and be like, this is a conflict of interest, sir. I'm on a show to find love and you dated my child. We're not gonna have this. Y'all do something with him, please.
Yeah, that's what really should have happened. But maybe she did what she did to like get him eliminated sooner than later, or I don't know. But it was weird.
Had him eliminated in the beginning. That's what I said. Like, to me, she exposed, because I'm not trying to go too far, but what was exposed about him, which we'll talk about, I kind of felt like that could have been humiliating. Luckily, it wasn't, but that could have went in a whole nother direction.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. I just didn't like the fact that he was even on the show. I feel like they do background checks, and when people come on shows and psych evaluations, I feel like production likely knew and did not tell each of them. But we'll come back to it because they do discuss it. So we did have to move on to London, aka Delicious, who wants to discuss her divorce. For those who do not know, she was married to Raymond Santana Jr. of the Central Park Five. Oh my God, such a sad story. These gentlemen did decades in jail for some mess that they did not do. Just Black men really are so mistreated in the eyes of the law. It's sad, but they are now free. They did get settlements, but that's not going to take away the trauma, them being robbed of their childhoods, them being robbed of the ability to mature properly. There's so much more that comes with it. And Delicious thought that it would be smart to marry somebody who'd been through that. In my opinion, Delicious should have known better and expected what she got with him. And at the same time, even though he has trauma is not an excuse to mistreat people. What I'll say is she says that they were married for only 2 years and that he abandoned a wife prior to being with her. He has a history of doing this. I think it's likely related to his trauma in some ways, but she alludes to him being abusive. Again, he grew up in an abusive, one of the most violent jails that we have in this country, and he did it as a youth, which made it psychologically more difficult than it would for a regular adult. So I'm not saying or trying to give him an excuse, but I'm saying this is why you have to pay attention and get to know people well before you marry them, because you need to learn about and hear their traumas. It's not up to you to say, oh, you have trauma and run away. But at least if you know of it and understand the depth of it, which I don't think you can do in 2 years of a marriage, you're not going to be able to handle it or accept it or all of these things. So I feel like she could have prevented her heartbreak. But I wish them both well. She's moved on. I think he's moved on. So, I wish them the best. James, how did you feel about what she talked about with her marriage?
The only question that I really have for her is, did you know that information before or after you married him? And what I mean by that is him abandoning the first wife. because mind you guys, he was a kid when he got arrested. So my impression is that once he got out, he got married and, got his award from there and then moved on to some point with Delicious. So I want to know if she knew, because if she knew that before, I don't understand why you didn't think that was a red flag and the potentials of what he could do with you. Because obviously, and we did see them on couples retreat. We did. And I don't remember what were the issues they were going through in couples retreat. I just know that they divorced.
Issues stemming with his anger, him isolating, stuff related to what someone who went through the trauma he did, how they would react and live. She, like you said, she definitely at her big age should have known better. But I think Delicious is emotionally immature when it comes to dating, just off the fact that she signed up to do Flavor of Love.
She reminds me of what was Wendy Raquel Robinson's character's name in To Play That Game that got with Bobby Brown? And you remember something that Vivica said was profound, is that she's a down sister, that she will work with a brother, even though he may not have it all together, but she'll make sure that he does. I think Delicious is that type of person. I think that she gets with men who are fundamentally and probably literally broken to every extreme, whether if it's because of society, a trauma at home, or something. I feel like there's a part of her that feels, that she can fix it. Like she's the mothering. It's kind of like the cleanup woman situation. That's what I get from her. And that's dangerous. Well, see, I didn't want to say that.
She probably did, because she's getting to an age where, see, the thing what people don't understand, beauty don't last forever. Nothing lasts forever. So at some point, even if you keep your beauty, you're going to get too tired to be out all the time. So I believe that and have believed that, because it's so, the Central Park Five, especially in the Black community, I don't understand how you don't meet someone who was a part of that and not say to yourself, oh, he's been through some shit. I need to be more patient with this one.
Or wait till she's in a position to. I think she should have waited till she was in a position to be with that kind of person. That's what I don't know about the settlement and the clout thing. I don't know. Just because she's been with other men who had more money than that. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know. And then the other thing about the clout is that what other clout would she had attached to him?
At the time that they got together, that's when the Netflix documentary had just dropped, as well as the docuseries, and the Central Park Five became a bigger deal. It was also during a time that we were going through the election, to where people were wanting Trump out, and he was a pivotal part in their conviction. So I can understand where Bitch They Win It is coming from with that. Okay. If we look at the timeline, y'all know I'm a documentary nerd, so I'd be super into that. And then my dad was Panther and all this other crazy stuff, so I like try to stay super woke with that. But I did think it was a red flag the way that she got with him at the time that she got with him. But at the same time, from what she said here, seeing them on Marriage Boot Camp, I think separate from his trauma, separate from the mess of how they got together, they did not give husband and wife. Like there wasn't that like energy. You couldn't even see the potential of what used to be. So I don't think they had that much connection. I think he saw that ass and said it looked delicious and took a bite. And then they decided to get married.
And there's another comment here. Obviously, when it said that she can't hold on to those 7-figure men. I feel like the 7-figure men that she was getting were like men that she were attracting in this situation. They have like this pillar reason of why they should not be with somebody. She has like I'm telling you, I feel like she really does have a horrible, like mothering kind of, I want to, shield you and I want to make you more than what you are. She comes in with that mentality. She even did it on this show, in this episode. So I'm kind of feeling like she's the cleanup woman.
Yeah, she's very weird. We're going to talk about that too as we get into the dates, because I felt like the way that she interacted with the men was very strange. And the counselor B is like analyzing her and looking at her like, you using your sex appeal as a way to keep men interested. And she seems a little lost when she doesn't have to use that, because you can't always rely on your sex appeal to get you through an relationship. And as I saw her on these dates, I don't think she knows how to interact with men without bending over and making that thing clap, which nothing's wrong with, but you got to also have the balance. So she goes on her dates and she learns that Dr. Elam writes poetry, and she has him to recite some of his poetry, and it was good. I did enjoy it. Chris was not a hater about the poem, though. He really enjoyed it. And James, but let James comment
No,
on that.
it was, because we all see all 785 of his teeth. So it was him smiling like that and then him putting his head down, like, I can't lie, that was fire. And it was like, you had to do all of that. I'm sorry, y'all. I hate I have to say this because I'm not trying to be that person. But these men were giving me gay vibes, both of them. It wasn't just, it was more so Dr. Elam than it was Chris. That was his name, right? I'm blanking.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Elam, he did
it was,
a little, but
it was the, every time she would ask him a question, it was the, it was the, all of this. Like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, why are you doing that? Aren't they in Atlanta or somewhere else? They're in Atlanta, Shayna. But it was very much like Dr. Elam was giving it more than Chris was. Chris was giving me, it could be potentially there, but it wasn't 100%. Dr. Elam was giving, he was giving me, he's Nigerian, and you guys know how Nigerians are. They don't see it for the LGBT community. They don't. And it's giving, he can't be who he really is, especially not on national TV. That's what it's given to me. I'm sorry. I'm just calling a spade a spade. This is my opinion, but I didn't see straight when I saw him.
So Delicious ends up having these men compete, which I thought was a red flag on her part, because you could tell that she really just enjoyed having them compete over her with the little basketball arcade thing. And she ends up spending time with Chris separately, and she asks him if her sexy image is going to be a problem for him. And he's just like, no, I'm confident in myself. She's alluding to like as if her image has been a problem when dating other men. Delicious. You don't have to, always be showing your whole ass all the time. I understand that's what you do for a living, but you don't have to do it all the time. And if a man is interested in you at your realm of fame, I would assume that he knows that you have an image that has to do with sexiness, especially given your nickname is fucking Delicious. I'm just, of course, he's going to agree to that.
It makes me look at her in a different way, because it was like, okay, you have Bucky over there who is doing a whole fitness line and has fitness apparel, making a lot of money off that. You have Boots, who owns her own hair company and actually is selling it all over the place, kind of like Latrice's on Bell Collective. And then you have Safari, who has a lip chap line and it's doing extremely well as well. And you were the winner of Flavor of Love. So why is this still your image? I'm trying to figure that out.
And she had actually gotten into radio and was doing really well with that as a radio personality around Detroit at some point for a few years after Flavor of Love, but it looks like that fell off or something, and now she's doing this. But either way, I don't want to see her talking about her image. I'd rather you talk to these men, get to know them. We already get it. You're sexy. Talk about other things, Delicious, please, because I don't know she's going to
grandchildren, like
not the grandchildren.
Don't say grandchildren, or am I mistaken?
I have no clue. I honestly don't keep up with this woman's.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking. I know her daughter is our age, so that's why I'm like,
Jesus Lord.
I'm like,
we gonna move on to K Michelle's date. K Michelle's date was my speed, y'all. She went to an animal safari, feeding giraffes and all types of stuff. I love events like that because I love the creatures. I like animals more than people. But K Michelle got on my nerves because she was triggered by Zach using the word fool. And in my head, I'm like, that's what the clear people do when they be looking at animals and all of that. Look at this fool, dude. Look at this. Like, he's speaking the way his people speak. But she says from her previous abusive relationships that the word fool triggers her. Baby, go to therapy.
I felt like there could have been more words that would have been more offensive to the animals than food. Like, I kind of feel like he wasn't using it in a term where it degraded them. He was kind of using it as kind of like how women use, bitch as a term of endearment when talking to their friends. It kind of reminded me of that. Now, I didn't think black was what he was trying to do. It gave me more, he was trying to act Hispanic. Because isn't that what our Hispanic and Mexican Americans do? They call
I
each other.
think we'll just say that he was definitely acting in a way that's not natural and authentic to
Right.
himself.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what bothered her more. I don't want her to go and be like, I had an abusive relationship and this bothered me. We've seen K. Michelle date on TV before. We've seen people use the word fool with her. You ain't never been triggered before, so please don't start it now. I want to be empathetic to her, but at the same time, it just felt like something petty and stupid. But he did say it a lot. He reminded me of Tamar's boo. It just gives me clownish that somebody's gonna take too seriously, but something is very off with him. And Kate Michelle asked Zach, "Why are you single?" And this is where we learned that the woman he adopted children with and who he was married to, she died in a car crash, unfortunately, in 2015. You can see that he is absolutely still hurting from this, but I don't know. There was just a lot that was off with him.
I want someone to post the accident and what was the cause.
Damn.
Not to be shady or funny or anything. I do. Just because I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying it's not possible, but what I'm saying is that something about his behavior, it gives me, when people are too charismatic and when they are really trying to bait you, sometimes a lot of times that gives very much like predatorial behavior. And I've seen that a lot. So that's why I'm asking if anyone knows what that lady's name is or if anyone knows the information. I would love to read it just to get a better idea, because something about him, like everyone is saying, it's something about him that's not right. And it's the way he's coming off. It wasn't necessarily with K. Michelle, it was with Delicious when we get to that part. That's where I kind of felt like, oh no, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that, y'all. Because something was off with him. Normally, when I hear stories like that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so sad. But he didn't lead with it earlier on. He's just like, I was married and I adopted 2 kids. But you would think that he'd be like, unfortunately, my wife passed like immediately, because that's what unfortunately people do have experienced that pain. But we are going to come back to it, you guys. Lisa Ray did a champagne tasting in the park, which I'm not surprised. It's aligned with Lisa Ray. She separates and she decides to talk to Norman alone. And it was extremely awkward. Norman likes older women, so he says, even though he's dating somebody his age. And Lisa asked him if he makes it a habit to date a daughter and a mother, which really bothered me, because you know that you know him. He knows that he knows you. Why would, come on now. You invite him on a date. You know the reason why. Don't do that, Lisa Ray. Please don't. But Lisa Ray says that her daughter Kai said that Norman was dishonest in their relationship and that he was living with somebody else while he was supposed to be with her. And Norman says that the reason that they broke up was actually due to him and Kai having a child. Apparently, Kai got pregnant and she decided that she wanted an abortion because she did not want to disappoint her mom, aka Lisa Ray. He says that this abortion broke his heart and started crying. I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't believe him worth a damn. I don't. I think that yes, that probably happened, but I don't think it was the cause of the breakup. I think that she probably got that abortion maybe because you was living with somebody that you wasn't supposed to be living with. I think that some of the story is true, but I also think that Kai's version is true. And you know what they say, you got part A, side B, and then the truth in the middle. That's what I think happened. But bitch that put it in the comments, that man was not trying to date you. She's or your neck, damn.
So here's my thing, because I agree with what you're saying. I feel like he's one of those men that knows how to turn on that emotional implication. And what I mean by implication is when you know that a lot of Black men are not emotional or not in touch with their emotions. So that baits women. It really does. A lot of women say they don't like a man that cries, but there's some women that are in tune with that because they don't see it. And when they see it, they feel this in-depth like emotion to, reason with it. Not Lisa Ray because she's so hard up. Not Lisa Ray. But had he did that with Delicious, Delicious would have picked him 100%.
That's
That would have
true.
been that would have been
That's
who
very
Delicious
true.
would have picked up on. And that's what I'm saying. He just used that on the wrong woman.
Yeah.
And I feel like had Lisa Ray not came back and told his backstory, sorry, I had to jump ahead a little bit. I feel like he would have stayed and Delicious would have picked him 100% because he is attractive. We're not going to, I'm not going to say he's not. He's very attractive. And I do, and like I said, I do believe that the abortion was a part of it, but I do believe it's you turned on those tears, and that's what she did out of her own guilt. But I'm sorry, I feel like that was manipulation. I do
Yeah,
agree.
he tried it and it didn't work, and I could tell with Lisa's face it did not work.
She
A bit
did.
said when it said I think she ruined his chances with the other lady. She did.
Absolutely, she did.
He absolutely did, and that's the part I didn't think was fair. But at the same time, the men on this show also have the right, if they choose to decline a date, if they're interested in just one woman. So he could have easily done that and spoke up, but he chose not to. So, we will see where this
But
goes as
then,
we continue.
on the flip side of that, that would make me question if let's say Lisa Ray didn't do that and Delicious did pick him, then that would make me question his actual action of loving her and everything. And if that's a possibility, if you're crying because of something Lisa Ray did to you, that makes me feel, and I feel like the tears are manipulative. How I know you would be manipulative with Delicious and using that. See, that's why I'm saying I'm glad she did do it. I really am. Like,
So we did see Lisa spend time with Booker alone, which she should have done because that's the one you actually want to date, Lisa. My goodness. But it's a red flag to me, okay? Booker said he done been married a few times. He got, grown kids with the first wife, second wife, no kids, and then he was in a long relationship with no marriage, and he got a 5-year-old. But he looked pretty old to have a 5-year-old. I don't know. That gave me a red flag. What are your thoughts on him being
no,
married
that
twice?
was beyond red flag. Yes, you've been married a couple times. The red flag is how long was the relationship with you and the baby and the mother of your 5-year-old, and why did you? I needed to hear explanation of why the relationships ended. Because granted, relationships can end. I'm not saying that you have to be with people, but it was coming off like I can guarantee the breakups were all the same thing.
Yeah, he ain't learned, and he probably in his head think I'm there for my kids, so I'm good enough, and that's not
No,
always the
no, what
case.
I was saying was it gives me that and I'm gonna say this is allegedly, y'all. This is my opinion. It gives me you cheated on the first wife with the second one, and then the second one you learned after a mistake not to marry the third one, just have a baby. That's what it was giving me.
Either way, huge red flag. And I hope that Lisa Ray pays attention to that. But knowing her dating history, y'all, she won't. Now they go over how all the dates went with the host and all of those good things. Delicious says that Chris was not who she would normally date due to the comment he made about his woman not having friends. She felt like it was insensitive, but then she goes on all of the same sentence to say it was insensitive, but I like him. You know what? Let me explain something. I haven't dated in many years, y'all. It's been a solid 15 years since I dated like different people. But I know that if somebody makes a comment about how they are in a relationship that I view as insensitive, I am not then going to turn around and be like, like him.
I don't think she
James.
realized that the two things contradict each other. I don't think she really
That's the part that's sad.
grasped. It is.
She
No,
doesn't
absolutely.
know.
No, it is. It's 100%. Like, are we okay in there? Like, does the elevator go all the way up to the top? Do you realize what you just said? That's
I
like
feel
saying
like she needs supervision dating. Like
no.
she needs supervision.
I mean, that's almost as bad as you saying, yeah, yeah, he slapped the hell out of me, but he can fry him some chicken though. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, like that's what that sounded like to me. It was like, fuck does that matter?
I'm thinking she
You
gonna say something deep,
know?
and she's just like, he made a concerning comment, but I like him. Okay, boo, we gonna move on because you know what? I don't have nothing too nice for Delicious, and y'all gonna tell me I'm mean. I don't feel like y'all know somebody sent me a long email detailing how mean I am on my lives. I so badly
Oh,
was
I get them too, and I'm like, and
crying. Fuck.
I laugh like I do because y'all. It's like, okay,
I'm trying to
we're here to
behave.
give our opinions. This is what y'all watch us for, right? Like we're here to give our opinions
No,
of
but
what we.
Delicious, the things I'm thinking in my head, I'm gonna move on because I have nothing nice for her. I really don't. Not after that. K Michelle mentions Zach. She says she liked him, but she felt like Afam had a calming demeanor, even though they didn't show the damn date, barely. But she seemed to like both guys. How you feel about K Michelle's thoughts on the dates and feelings? Did you agree with those or
Um, I feel like with Doctor or not Doctor. Why am I thinking of him? Their names are similar. That's probably why I'm doing that. His name. What was the other guy that she went on there? What was his name again?
there was Zach and Afam?
Afan.
I
See,
don't
Doctor
know why
Alana.
when I hear Afam, I think of Jafar in Aladdin.
Right. Because they didn't really show her interaction with him, I can't really judge it.
Mm.
I can't really judge it. Like I can't judge like when that's why when she didn't mention much of him, I'm like, well, we didn't see anything. So until we see something, I can't give a popular opinion on what we're supposed to be seeing. But what
Based
I
on his job, I say go for it.
right because not only that he give me like you know he is from like Abu Dhabi or something, and he got some real money. Like that's what he give me, and he wasn't that bad looking. So I would
He
feel
wasn't.
like
He
I
just
feel
too
like hey,
quiet.
that's all right. She loud, so they balance each other out. So that's
That's
fine.
true.
They balance each other out. It's fine. But I feel like okay with damn, why do I keep spacing on
Zach,
time?
because
Zach,
it's a new season and you still learning. It's okay.
yeah,
Be easy on yourself, Thug.
Zach. I felt like to me she was too fixated on the trigger and not really the whole ambiance of the conversation that was weird. And I felt
Yeah.
like I wish she would have expanded on that more because she was like, that was relatable. It was like, no, ma'am, that was creepy. It was creepy in a way to where if it wasn't given that, he was wanting sympathy, it was to trump whatever experience you were having in that moment. That's what it was given to me. Like, oh, you giving me this about how you're triggered about this, but I lost my wife. That's how it was given. It was like, I'm gonna trump your experience because you can't trump mine. You ain't have a dying spouse or dead spouse. That's what it gave me. Like, I'm sorry, it didn't get. I wasn't moved by that. I really wasn't. And the fact that she really, and that's why I said her emotional intelligence is not there. It just isn't.
It's clear that it's not, James. That is the truth. It is clear that
It's
it
not.
is not.
Yeah, it's really bad.
He gave really awkward vibes, and the fact that she didn't pick up on it is a concern. But
Yes.
Lisa Ray says that she and Booker had a connection through the way they look at each other. Something about freckles. Okay, Lisa. They discussed Norman, and this is where she comes clean, lets everybody know that he dated her daughter, and she wanted to learn what was going on. And then we come to the point of discussing Bailey, the guy with the eyebrows that are like a caricature, just sticking straight up, then down, like the greater than and less than signs, just on the top of his face. And he did not go on a date with anybody. And it seems like all the women felt like he was shallow a little bit. Uh, how do you
He
feel about
gave
it?
because I see their point. I do. Because we don't have the entire conversation in clips, I really can't judge it based upon the interactions he's had with any of them. Because I didn't get that from him. What I did get though was old school mentality and misogyny. I did get that from him.
Absolutely.
So I feel like if we're talking it in terms of that, and maybe if there's more that would support that, then yes, I see what they're saying. But
Yeah.
for me, I felt like what Delicious was explaining in that moment, I was like, I don't know if that's the correct observation. I don't know. I was questioning her observation. And mainly that's because I'm questioning her observation, period, of men just in general. I think she was the wrong person that executed the answer to the question. I think that's why I have a hard time. Just putting it out there. I think that's why I had a hard time with it because it came from her. I think if it came from Lisa Ray or even K Michelle, maybe I would have took it better.
I could agree with that. I don't think I could take Delicious like seriously. Like I said, I think she needs supervision when dating. That's just my opinion. And that's okay. Maybe we can make that a job and add to the economy, dating supervisors or something, because some of these heifers need help. But the ladies, we get to the point of the elimination. You guys are going to eliminate some men's. So we're going to see 3 men at the dinner. Bailey, Zach, and Norman are the 3 men that are at the elimination dinner. It is because the women ultimately felt like they are not good matches for them. Before they get to the dinner, they pretty much mingle and chat to give the gentlemen like a last chance and opportunity to mingle with the women, try and save themselves. In this moment, I was like, wow, reality TV dating shows have really made a comeback in recent time, from Love is Blind to this to Married at First Sight, Ready to Love, like you name the network is back, and it's much better than that Flavor of Love era, because I don't know what the hell we was thinking watching it, but it was entertaining. But Zach talks with K Michelle. James about to go in. And this is where we learned that Zach used to be a pastor. The white boy was a pastor. And all my note says, you guys, is I don't see it for Zach. I just don't. Here's my thing. I believe in God. I think some pastors are good, but you tell me you a pastor and I'm trying to date you, that's a red flag for me. What's going to come with that? What type of pastor you are? Am I going to have to change how I behave? Am I going to have to be up early every Sunday? I need to know what's going to come with it. To me, it's a red flag. Then you look at a pastor with somebody like K Michelle. And I'm not saying K Michelle's a bad person, but pastors generally are the representation of their religious place of worship, the place of holiness, whatever it may be. So it's, them church folk be judgmental as hell. They gonna see K Michelle and they're gonna say, oh, that's the girl that almost put her life at risk because she wanted a big butt. That's the girl with it that's lighting in her skin. It's a judgy little area, and she's struggling to get accepted in the country music. So I'm like, oh, he's a pastor. That's just, why would a pastor come on a reality television show to date?
I think he was a former pastor. I don't think he's a current pastor.
That's just strange. To me, once you're a pastor, you're a pastor. So what you doing? Go to christianmingle.com. You don't belong here.
True. But he gives me like the pastor that was misappropriating funds at the church. Because of his demeanor of misappropriating certain colloquialisms and things that he was saying to match her tone. I noticed that too with him in that particular scene. And I'm like, it was the tilted head, yeah, girl, I got you. And it's all this like swagger you trying to, so it gives that you perpetrate. That's what it was giving. You're perpetrating, sir. That's why I couldn't get with that whole, wife was in an accident and the whole, adopting Ethiopian kids and all this.
Something about her just feels disingenuous.
Yes, it did. And this scene was kind of the nail in the coffin for me. It really was. And I was kind of like, no. But there's a scene I want you to get to with someone else. So that's just my opinion of that one.
Now we did see Norman explain that he wants to try and make it work with K Michelle or Delicious. He said he'll take either or. Bailey tries to talk with K Michelle. All I have to say is I'm tired of his eyebrows and I'm thinking of Pastor Greenleaf. That's all I have to say. K Michelle, why did you wreck 3 cars in one day?
I was, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, wait,
Houseway.
why? What? I mean, were the cars just too? Because I'm thinking, what kind of car did she have in Love and Hip Hop? She had a Rolls Royce in one of them seasons, and that's a heavy car to drive. So I could understand that. That one I understood. Because when you that short, yeah, that's a little too much. That's like Cruella Deville's car. You know how it's long in the front and you just got the small back. I could see that car getting damaged if you ain't careful. I don't know what other cars it was involved in that, but 3 accidents in the same day, they should take your driver's license.
Absolutely. Because what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Not much happened at the end, y'all. We get to the ceremony where we find out who's going to be eliminated. Bailey is sent home by K Michelle. Zach is kept by Delicious.
That's what I want to talk about.
Go ahead.
And this is what I'm talking about how men can use manipulation, and she's the cleanup woman. Because the conversation that they were having, that was another emotional conversation where he was trumping her experience versus letting her have that experience when talking about her ex-husband and how she felt. And that was a complete manipulation, but because she's so hell-bent on being this, oh, he's showing me a side that men never show, so I got to rally. And that's why I was scared that she had got a hold of, what's his name? Norman. Yeah. I was afraid that she had got a hold of him because Norman would have used that exact same thing because you know how that conversation, and it probably did happen, but the producer's like, no, we can't because it's not going to work. But I feel like Norman probably would have used them tears, and Delicious would have been like, I've never had a man cry in front of me because the only men I've ever dealt with were just hard and rough. And here you are with these beautiful tears. And I feel like that's what would have happened because she's that easy. So when I saw her make the decision for, oh my God, why does his name keep
Zach.
When I saw her,
call him the clear skinned one if you got to. Whatever you got to do.
Well, I'm trying to remember the white man. I'm trying to reverse from saying that. But when she had to make the decision for Zach, I felt like that was production error. She shouldn't have had to made that decision. That was K Michelle's decision. And if y'all wanted her to make a decision, she could have chose for either the man that she felt, because remember, she was the one who brought it up in conversation of how she felt about Bailey. So she should have been the one that told him, you're not my king. Not K Michelle, because I feel like K Michelle wouldn't have kept, God damn it, Zach. I felt like she wouldn't have kept him. I really feel like, and I feel like Norman would have had a chance. Even though I don't feel like Norman deserved it, but still, I just feel like they should have sent all 3 of them home.
They should have. Norman goes home. So we lost 2. We lost Bailey. We lost Norman, and somehow Zach stays.
Weird.
That was the part for me that I didn't understand. Aside from the fact it was strange that Delicious was the one that kept him, I was still overall just like, I expected Norman to stay because he didn't really have no beef with nobody, but the Zach staying is strange. I think that's the part for me that's a struggle. Bailey, yeah. I'm okay with him going. Norman, I'm also fine with him not being there no more. But Zach still being there just makes my teeth itch just a little bit.
It just makes me feel like it makes me look at the Pete's. Y'all are hosting this. Y'all heard what they said. Why are we making these kind of like improvisations? Like I'm just confused on because
it is an all-black show airing on Bravo, so I'm sure that they will have plenty of moments of confusion.
I just feel like if I were to keep any of them, like if this were my show, because Norman and Zach had a chance at a date, I would have kept Bailey to see if he could maybe prove them wrong, kind of situation on a date, or see if he can get a date at a second chance because you gave second chances to two men who have already had a date. So why not give a second chance to the person who never even went on a date to really kind of prove any other instances other than what Delicious is saying, which I feel like is total bullshit. But I don't know. I just felt like I would have sent them to home. I really would have and kept Bailey.
Yeah, it was weird who got sent home, but it does look like it will be a pretty decent season. I'm glad that they're putting Queen's Court onto Bravo. Because I wasn't trying to pay for Peacock. I would have, but I wasn't trying to. But that was it for the first episode, which was titled Royal Reveal. Season 2, episode 1. We'll be back again next week to go over Queen's Court, which we will do after James's Housewives of Potomac on his channel. The link is in the description of the video for his channel. Just click it, it'll take you right on over. Other than that, you guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Shout out to the replay gang. I'm going to go night night. Thank you, James, for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good night, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.